this time is teaching so many of us that, and I really love that so many of us are really getting it and accepting it and working with it. So
yeah, to not get it is to fail, I think.
To not get it is to suffer.
Yeah, definitely.
Isn't it? Yeah. So Matt, what I'm going to do with you, what I'd like to do, if you're okay with it, is the first call that I do with somebody, so what I want to do is pretend like I don't know you as well as I know you.
Sure.
I mean, we're to some extent. I mean, I'm not going to kind of obviously pretend I don't. I'm going to use the things that I know about you to serve you, but there's also some of the ways that I'll be saying things that are going to, because I want this to be an example for people to understand how to connect with somebody that they haven't really connected with before, and how to do that. So some of the languaging that I'll choose deliberately might just sound a little bit like that. The content of your life that I know about, I'm not going to pretend I don't know, because that will help me knowing how to serve you. So,
okay,
cool.
Sure.
All right, we'll begin. All righty. So, how are you doing today? How has this day gone for you?
Today, if it was in normal times and I was thinking of it normally, it would be an up and down day. But because of what things are with this virus, it's like the other days have been. I had to lay a guy off this morning, and normally that would be a horrible thing, but that's not.
That's really interesting.
It's not really affecting me negatively, because if we didn't do it, then everybody else would have suffered, and it just would have created more problems. So he's laid off temporarily. It allows him to get government assistance. So that's
super interesting. And it is a little bit about what we were just talking about, where I'm seeing with you and everything that you just shared. It's like, I'm witnessing a leader being invited to step up. I'm witnessing that what I'm hearing you say is that these interesting times in the coronavirus are making things that would have otherwise been difficult for you just sort of what needs to be done.
Yes.
And you're being able to handle it. And it's one of the things that I talk a lot about, is there's a lot of gifts in the breakdown. They create breakthroughs. And it sounds like you have been experiencing that.
Yeah, I've been rereading The Art of War, and as well, because it teaches how to think objectively rather than morally and with feelings. You just, here's the objective, here's the objectives to get to the objective. And that's what matters at this time. We can worry about the feelings and the morals afterwards.
Yeah. Okay, so I already have to clear this whole thing that the funny thing is like what I talk about in the connect call is you have to connect authentically.
Okay.
And I put this game into the beginning of ours to pretend that I was going to use some words to pretend like this was the first time that we were meeting. That's just not going to work. I'm already feeling that can't work because it interferes with authenticity. So I'm striking that game out. So I just have to clear that, because I could feel the energy of inauthenticity. And one of the things I talk about is you cannot connect authentically if there's something interfering with a space like that. And when that happens, you've got to clear it.
Sure.
So cool. All right, my friends. So we'll get to jam. And so tell me, what has you look into getting coaching? What do you see for yourself that excites you?
2.5 years ago now, I got into this leadership position at work. I had never wanted leadership before, but it was a choice of either me taking over or them bringing somebody in from the outside. And I had the feeling then, and I still have the same feeling, that wouldn't have worked out well. So me stepping in, I was able to do it very well, because I knew all the guys there for years, and I knew exactly how to lead them, because I had watched all the leaders in the past do things that worked and do things that failed. And so I just put all the things together that did well for them, and I started doing those things. But in the meantime, over the last couple of years, there's been dreams I have that I've always wanted to do. Like, the main one is when I was born, the original space race was on. by the time I got my education done and into the workforce, Challenger blew up and America quit on the space race. But now Elon has got it going again. And I have a chance that I'm still not old. I'm not young anymore. But so basically I'm in the perfect situation. I can take all these leadership things that I've been learning and start using them. And if I can get some coaching and some actual real training on leadership, I can put those two things together, become really strong, and maybe create a company, maybe that doesn't directly help us now on this planet, but in the future will take us to the stars. And that's kind of where I want to go.
Now, I have never, in the whole time I have known you, ever heard you speak so clearly about what you want. I'm getting emotional.
Cool. I am a bit too, but
Hell yes. Like that was, I'm so glad this is being recorded. That was beautiful. And I felt you so clearly and so authentically. I'm a hell yes.
Yeah. So I think that's it. So right now my thing is, I know where I want to go. I got to figure out exactly how to get there. And my biggest hurdle right now, and this is my main question. Who do I bring with me? And by that, I don't so much mean who do I employ? I literally mean who do I bring with me? What, not even what kind of person. One of the things that's in my top of my mind, I want to bring people with me that have humanity as their first thing, because I'm also a student of history, so I recognize what happened. The European colony, the European countries discovered America. They created these colonies. Within 200 years, most of these colonies separated from them into completely different entities. So Elon is going to Mars. I think most of the people on this planet have this view that the people on Mars are just going to be part of human society. But no, they're going to end up being people from Mars. So we're going to have Martians, for want of a better term, and Earthlings. Are they going to go into conflict? If we look at the history of colonization, yes. So I think we have to start looking at ourselves not from being, there's several cultures I can name, several religions I can name.
Hang on just a second. I think we're getting 200 steps ahead of us.
Yeah, I agree. But
I love that your vision. I love that. I mean, this is the brain of leader. The brain of leader can think 200 steps ahead so that it can take the action that needs to be taken best for today that also impacts 200 steps forward. So I love that your brain is thinking that way. But let's go back just a little bit. I want to make sure that I'm clear on what you want. What you want is to create a company that helps Elon get to Mars.
Not so much get to Mars. I want to initially create a company that can mine the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter and supply both Mars and Earth with new resources.
I love it. This is so Star Trek. I love it. This is like, yeah. I love that we were talking about this. Okay, so mine, you got to say that again. The asteroid belt?
The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter.
Belt.
And that's the initial target. The real target.
And why do you want to do that?
Well, we're going to quickly use up the resources of Earth trying to do this, and we're going to have no resources left here, and we're going to pollute the planet beyond usability. And really, it's our only truly usable one. So if we can instead mine for resources this asteroid belt that's literally loaded with every type of resource that we need, it's also much closer to Mars, so we won't have to be sending materials from Earth to Mars. We can mine the asteroid belt to supply both Earth and Mars. And at the same time, we can build a base in the asteroid belt that will is the stepping stone to get to the next belt, which is the Kuiper belt, which Pluto is part of. And the resources in the Kuiper belt are better than the resources in the asteroid belt. It's kind of the next stepping stone for deep space travel.
This is so exciting. I don't get to talk. I've never had anybody I get to talk about. This is like really, I love that. I mean, and this is what kind of tickles my fancy over here is like what I talked about before, why I'm a stand for reluctant leaders. It's like, I feel like there's a lot of people like you that have felt this, like when you were at Soul Purpose Live, We talked, like there was a little bit of this coming out, but there was the reluctancy. It's just fully out now. It is just like you are speaking it. I love it. And I think about, wow, yeah, what could a world be like with more of these leaders rising up and really, the same thing that is what would have been hard for you to lay somebody off, now you're just doing, I think has activated a lot of this leadership within you. And you're realizing, oh, I could just also do the things that need to be done to mine that asteroid belt.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Okay, so you see a possibility, and that's the call to action. You see the possibility. What's in your way? What's preventing you from making it happen?
The main thing is I brought it before. Who do I bring with me? So, and how do I find those people?
And when you say, and I know you're kind of talking about the people that can be in their humanity, but who do I bring with you? Are you talking about the people that you need to enroll to help you make it happen?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So because that's not something you can do by yourself.
No, on top of very specific trainings they would have to have, I want there to be a certain mindset around the humanity portion of it.
Speak a little bit about that. Speak a little bit about that.
The humanity portion, or
what you see?
What I see is people that are willing to put humanity first and not their culture, their religion, their whatever their personal beliefs are. Like, to me, certain questions that we have in society now, to me, humanity answered about 40 million years ago, if you believe the humanity and the earth are that old. I don't really know why it's such a big deal in my head, to me, it's really holding things back.
Wait, say a little bit more about that.
Well, even just not a simple thing. It's a incredibly complicated thing. The economy, it's a technology that's probably 6,000 years old, and it's been adjusted over the last 6,000 years. But right now we have this COVID thing, and the whole thing falls apart. The economy, the technology that we're using and calling it an economy, it's no longer working for our species. We're working for it, and it keeps failing. I'm not an economist or anything, so I'm not the guy that's going to change that. But I've got to somehow work outside of it, because the project I want to do is going to require more money than this economy is able to produce. I
love the way your brain is thinking, my friend. This is the way leader thinks. Leader is not the one with the resources. Leader is the one who can use his words to help others see a possibility for themselves that is greater, see a future that is greater. And then leader is the one that stands for that future.
Okay.
So leadership is about enrolling people into that vision. And I think that the highest level of leadership, you don't enroll people into your vision, you enroll people into their vision, but you help them create their vision to be bigger than they currently have it to be. Yes. You've already enrolled me. You've already started my mind to see something bigger. I don't think about the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter ever. I've never thought about that. But you brought it in a way that I can think about it in a way that's really exciting. And so, and
involved in that, like in more than just the technological and the science part of it. Within 100, 200 years, if things keep going the way Elon wants, we're going to have a small society out there. So we're going to have to start thinking about how do we have families out there? What kind of even clothing, like what style and space, because you can't just live in space and wear the t-shirts and stuff we do here. We have to have style and stuff for people. People have to have these things, especially in a society, to move on. So these are other things that we have to think of. So it's not just going to be people like me. It's not going to be astronauts. It's not going to be super smart scientists that make this happen. It's going to be fashion designers and all the different things we have. We have to kind of bring them along.
Yeah. So can we play a little game? I want to play a little game because I want to really get clear on what this vision is, what it is that you're really excited about, and maybe even see a little clearer the obstacles in the way. So let's pretend that the rest of our conversation was extraordinary.
Okay.
In this conversation, you got crystal clear on exactly what you wanted to do, and you had a breakthrough around who do I bring with me, to see really clearly who that was and knew how you were going to enroll them. And also, tomorrow I send you a magic wand. You get a magic wand in the mail. So we don't talk because you don't need a coach, because you got a magic wand. So anytime an obstacle or challenge comes up, a roadblock comes up, you're able to use this magic wand to help you break through to that next level of success and able to achieve everything that you wanted to achieve. And we don't talk for 3 years. And in 3 years, you read through your notebook from our conversation today, where you see everything that you declared you were going to create. And you kind of have this holy shiz moment. Everything that I said I was going to create has come about and more. You're so blown away, you have to get on the phone or do a Zoom and tell me what's going on, because I'm not going to believe it. But we want to pretend that 3 years into the future is today, right?
Okay.
Present tense. So, Matt, it's so good to see you. Oh my gosh, what has it been? 3 years. I've been following you on Instagram, and you have been creating the extraordinary. Tell me more about what's going on. I know that you've created this company where you guys are, I mean, you're just doing some wild things, but tell me more.
Okay. Well, we, in the meantime, of course, you've already seen this. We've developed a system.
I'm sorry. My little guy is, I think the nanny went home, but my husband's supposed to be, nobody right now. Let me just, sorry about that.
No worries.
Can you hear the name calling I'm getting? Call me a fat bully. So let me just see that. So it's my 3-year-old. Okay, thank you. My office has I had moved my office from downstairs just before all of the quarantine, and it's got a window up here, and so my little guy, I probably need to put a curtain on, but anyway, I apologize for that. So okay, but back into, okay, so we're 3 years into the future, you're just reaching out to me. Matt, it's so good to see you. Tell me more of what's going on in your life, your business.
So over time, we've figured out, how do I do it?
So, and you can go forward more than 3 years if you need to. I want you to go to the place that you are holy shiz. Mm-hmm. I've created everything that I said I wanted to. So if you want to go 10 years, where push forward time to be in that place where you can logically see that, man, I'm here. You have your team, you have your business, you guys are making headway, you're mining that. So probably, I mean, more than 3 years might be realistic, huh? Where you're mining that asteroid belt.
Yeah.
I don't know how much time that will take, but.
That might take a while, that part. The part that could technologically be done fairly quickly is to get a platform in space to be producing spacecraft in space rather than producing them on the planet.
Okay.
You gotta remember, the rocket ship that Elon's gonna put in space, the bottom 90% of it is just to get it off the planet. So if we don't have to produce all that and we can get it off the planet in an easier, cheaper fashion, that's how you do it. So the first step will be to build it.
Yeah. So kind of go to the place where wherever it is, whatever it is you're doing, where you're really lit up about it, that you're like, yes, I am living the purpose I've been born to do.
And so we got the people we have are excited. They have a focus of making this happen, making it a reality. We figured out how to figure out who the people are with this focus as opposed to those with other focuses, and we're no longer making it a focus of ours to be concerned with other people's focuses, because other people's focuses are fine. There's got to be people that are focused on earthly matters. Ours are higher, not higher, better, but literally higher in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So And that's a great thing that takes a huge stress off. It also, it creates a community whereby we can attract other people in that have different skills and different mindsets to help us see things in different ways, to give us better answers on what we're doing, because what we're doing, we're learning every day. At every step we take out there, we are learning something new that challenges us to decide what we want to do. We have 3 years ago, we had a certain vision. Now here we are.
Yeah.
And
So it sounds like you have a pretty diverse group of talented people who are all working together on for the same purpose, for the same vision.
yes, with
What do you love most about the team collaboration and how you guys are working together? Because I remember when we talked 3 years ago, like this piece that was really important to you is that everybody on the team had a sense of kind of a more of a global family, that they weren't, that we had, that they accepted diversity in humanity as sort of this one tribe. Yeah, so tell me more about how the team is functioning and working together.
well, that's working really well. We're so focused on getting these things, the technological ends done, that if, how do I say this? If the other things were getting in the way, we wouldn't be getting these things done. It's also interesting to note that how all these groups are coming together rather than conflicting with each other. Maybe that will continue to spread. And
Yeah.
honestly, once we do get communities out there in the future,
Yeah.
we need that, because
Yeah.
otherwise we are going to end up with Mars in conflict with Earth. If you want, it seems like a crazy thought even now at this time, but
But that's, you have the foresight to, yeah.
it's where we're going. We
Yeah.
don't want to be in conflict. We want to work together to move beyond that point.
Yeah. So what is it that you guys are working on right now? What's the project that is most exciting to you that you guys are working on?
The project right now is the craft that are actually going to traverse the space to go to Ceres. Ceres is a dwarf planet in the asteroid belt. It contains more fresh water than all the fresh water on Earth by 20 times or something around there. So it's a good place because we have the water there. We have a supply of oxygen. We can grow our own food. The only thing we have to be very careful with once we get there, and we're working on, is not to pollute that planet, because we can see from the COVID thing from a few years ago how quickly that spread. If we put the wrong germ on that dwarf planet, there could be life there. We don't know at this point.
No,
We don't want to destroy or harm that, because that could help us in the future. So we got to be very careful. So that's the goal right now. So the main question is, and we think we're decided, is that do we put people on those craft, or do we just use robots? We think we go with the robots, but we're not entirely decided on that yet.
So what do you love most? I remember when we talked 3 years ago that how this was, you were excited to build this company and start working towards this vision and this idea and this dream that really lit you up. What do you love most about your life today and what you're doing?
Well, the coolest thing for me personally is it's kind of, it seems like the word is gone from me, selfish. I might get actually to do space travel myself. I might, while I'm still young enough to.
Is that a big dream of yours?
Oh, I have this vision, and it's a clear vision of us getting the first spacecraft ready. And I'm on, we'll call it a bridge, because that's what Star Trek calls it. And I just tell everybody to move off the bridge, and I look out the front window, or probably a computer screen, because we're not actually going to have a window, because things come through windows and you don't want that in space. And just put my hand, I have a vision of me putting my hand in the wall, realizing it's real, and then immediately realizing that I'm not going to do it on my own, and calling everybody back in and saying, let's see how fast we can make this thing move. That's
how long have you had that vision?
a couple of years now, probably longer. Just that all these things are slowly forming together in my head. and they've been there, many of them have been there for years, just maybe decades, just not as clear.
Yeah, yeah. That's so you're living this dream. You're able to, like, now the vision of getting to actually get into outer space yourself and experience that is a reality. Like, that's all of this. And you got to be a part of that movement
Mhm.
of really being a modern day pioneer and trailblazer, like, no
Yeah.
kidding.
I'm
And
in, at heart, I'm not truly an entrepreneur. I'm not truly an employee. I'm an explorer, adventurer, and I should have been on Christopher Columbus's boat 600 years ago. But I'm here now, and we've got this opportunity in front of us, and it's going to be the biggest project our species has ever undertaken.
love it. How has this impacted your family life? Getting to be more in purpose. What is that? What has it meant for you in your world getting to do this?
Well, the family life, it definitely changed. We went from being an employee mindset between my wife and I, and raising the kids like the regular schooling, and we've had to change how the schooling has worked, but it's given all the kids an opportunity to see that the old lifestyle of the 9 to 5 job, it was not the only opportunity, and they've learned slowly to become entrepreneurs themselves and step into roles that when I was growing up would have not even been a concept.
How has it impacted your fatherhood? Like, because when you step into, because leadership, fatherhood is leadership, and stepping into more, and when I talk about leadership, as we've talked, leadership is not a position of authority.
Mhm.
It's a quality of being. It's a
Yes.
quality of being of somebody who decides to stand for the greatness in humanity and
Yep.
what we can become and what we can do. And you absolutely are being that stand. When we step into that and we hear that call of the hero to step into that and on that journey, it impacts every area of our life. And, so how has it impacted your life at home with your kids and with Amber?
Well, we do see a little less of each other because I'm doing this, but you act and others follow. Like it used to be that, I would come home at night and it was all kind of a chaos thing. So even though I was around, nothing of note really happened. So now I'm doing this thing and the others see it, and it gives them inspiration to be more. And when I am around, we find ways to make sure that I'm present in that moment and not in the other moment.
So it
It's
sounds like a little bit less quantity of time, but a whole lot more quality of time.
yes. Yeah. And before, where I was just there and one of the guys, now I it's leading by, I guess, example would
Mhm.
be the best way of saying it, rather than just trying to lead by being there and not really having a purpose.
Yeah. Well, leader, when you step into leadership, and that's why I was curious because I knew leader is cause in the matter. Leader is one who, as we talked before, the invitation into leadership is heartbreak. The invitation into leadership is to be with the heartbreak, the frustration, the anger of what leader leader is just being, and he's
Mhm.
in the world. And when you interact with the world, you're going to experience heartbreak and frustration and anger. Something's going to rally us or trigger us. And when leader is bees with it, if long enough, there's that, resist the call to action, gets authentic. That call becomes strong enough that the fear of staying the same, or the pain of staying the same, is greater than the pain of changing. So leader begins to, you embarked into leadership that you said, okay. And thanks to the coronavirus, it helped empower your leadership. It helped you show you that, yeah, actually, there is a lot more in me that can come out and be causing the matter and things. And how do I want to do that? I want to help us, you know, trailblaze the space.
Mhm.
And so when you step in and you start to really be cause in the matter, we really get that we can be cause in the matter everywhere. And we be it with our children, we be it with, so what leader does is leader sees what's missing.
Yep.
And when leader sees what's missing, leader brings cause to that. And what they cause is a future that wouldn't exist otherwise to occur. That's what leader does. And as you start to practice this, as you've practiced this in, being in the space industry and being a part of that and being cause in the matter and creating a future that wouldn't exist otherwise, your confidence in being able to create that future and being cause in the matter everywhere, just, you have the confidence to do that and you bring that. So where else in your life have you brought it?
The leadership, well, the part of the experience of designing the technology and the hardware in space to make this happen, we need people to make it happen. So part of what we've done is we've created set programs, not so much to train engineers, but to train people how they're going to have to become to live and work in space. So we've got this program so that we can maybe both supply people like Elon and ourselves with people who are ready to live, work out there. Maybe not as a family yet, but maybe with these programs can get to that point.
Yeah. Right on.
That's,
cool. What's your very favorite thing about your life today?
very favorite thing of my life today would be that I feel like I'm kind of living like the TV shows I grew up on, making it happen.
Yeah. And the TV shows that inspired you, I'm guessing?
Yeah, like Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars, and all these things of where we could go. And a lot of times, like things in Star Wars, things to avoid, like, like it's gonna. What history has taught us is that until you have actual boots on the ground, you don't really have anything. So you almost need to have some kind of militaristic viewpoint moving forward, but I think there's much better ways that we can make that happen that are not so confrontational, and have have the military mindset without the confrontation mindset. I think we need to have that kind of a mindset moving forward out there, and probably even here as well. So.
Yeah. So, and again, we've talked about this before as we've played this vision game, but this vision, it has an essence and an energy. You can feel it, right?
Yes.
And you can feel your quality of being, who you're being in it.
Yes.
You feel the leader in you. Remember that this is not 3 years into the future. It's not 10 years into the future.
Yeah.
It's right here today.
Okay. Yep. I can see that.
It's not a destination to be reached. It's a place to come from. Leader uses the vision as a place to come from. Leader you see this possibility for the world, that's this vision of us being able to go into outer space, to have colonies on Mars, to mine the asteroid belt, to, explore space. You see this possibility. It's the vision of this possibility that activates leader within you. It's a place to come from.
Okay. So not to get to, it's a place to come from.
Yes. The best way to use vision is to use it in this way. And it's the best way, that's the way that will really serve your leadership, to use it this way. When we start to use it as a destination to come from, it actually disempowers our leadership. We start to get frustrated that we're not there yet. We start to fill the gap between here and there. It's actually a difference between Newtonian reality and quantum reality. Newtonian reality is from present day forward. It's, here's me and here's the door right there. It's going to take time and space for me to get there.
Yep.
Quantum reality is I go into the quantum realm. I use the vision as a place to come from. It's alive inside of me. I connect to that reality. That future comes to me. You draw it to you.
Yep, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I've never really thought of it from a kind of a mind and spiritual perspective
Yeah.
before, because
Yeah.
I deal with the technological end of it.
Yeah. 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 And so so if you keep this, the idea is to keep this vision alive in that way, it will help pull the vision to you with, as a lot of times when we use the Newtonian reality, here I am in the present day, and I'm trying to help us get to this space station. If we use it in this way, we start, the word, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, but you get what I'm saying. It's like, it's much more powerful to use it as, let it activate leader in you. It'll pull it towards you so that we're not in the place of effort. Oh, I know what I was going to say. A lot of times when we are doing that Newtonian reality and we're trying to get there, that's when we self-sabotage and get in our way. That's when survival mechanisms start running the show, and ego start, and we trip all over ourselves.
Yeah, yeah, I can see us with that kind of a vision. You're going to try to be forcing people down that path.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you try to force people, it's a short-term leadership thing. It doesn't
Yes.
last over the long
Yes.
term.
And when you use it as a place to come from, what happens is you're already there. You know, science tells us what we imagine in our mind doesn't know the difference between imagined and real. So when you use this vision as a place to come from and keep it alive in you very much, then this is why in the whole law of attraction is that you become a complete energetic match for it, because you don't know, like, you're already there, you're already in this business, you're already doing the work, it's who you be. So you bring this into your leadership at your job right now, it's still very present for you. So your energetic essence is the very same today as it will be when you are living this, whenever that time and space comes, your same energetic match for it.
Sure.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah. Very cool. So what would it mean for you in your life to get to step into leadership and be a stand for this vision?
To me, what would it mean? It's something I've always wanted to do since I was maybe 6, 7, 8 years old. And I don't know what I was thinking then. It was grade 2, the first space shuttle that went up. The whole school shut down. I remember in Canada here, most of the country shut down, and it was around 12 or 2 o'clock. It was during school. They shut the school down, and they brought TVs into all the classes, which they never did before. And we all watched the space shuttle go up, and at that time, that's kind of when I started to want to do this. So why? I don't know. I have this feeling in myself from when I was I guess I was 6 or 7, and it's been there all this time, but it's never, I've never, it was until the last couple of years, it was never a thing I could see as a reality.
It almost feels to me, what I hear you saying is it's like it's what I was born to do.
I think so, yes.
You know, you like those shows as a kid. Those shows didn't make you want to be an adventurer and explorer. You were an adventurer and explorer, which is why you like those shows.
Yes, yeah. I was very young. I got myself into trouble getting lost a few times, and people had to come and find me. And yeah, I did a lot of that when I was younger.
This is what I love. It's like this is what a calling is, Matt. A calling is something you must do, even though it makes no logical sense.
Yeah, yeah. I can't logically speak to, like, why do I want to go to space? And quite honestly, I live in Canada. We have winter. I don't even like the cold, and out there it's permanently cold. So, but I
Yeah,
want to go.
makes no logical sense. That's a calling.
Yeah.
How can I support you in creating this vision?
I need a lot of, well, in my head, I need guidance on how to move forward and focus on continuing to move forward. Because I get stuck in, I have this thing where I think a lot and I don't record very much. which I'm trying to change now because we have the
But you
cameras. So
think a lot and you don't record a lot. What do you mean? You think you don't like write it down
well,
or?
I have all these, like what we're talking about here. These thoughts go through my head all the time, but but right now they're getting recorded. Most of the time they don't get recorded. So
Yeah, yeah,
now with cameras and this stuff where like there's other entrepreneurs, they're telling me get active beyond the cameras. They want me to do podcasts, but even if I don't do a podcast, I can at least record myself just spewing stuff out,
yeah,
record it, and see what the good where the good materials is. So, so I need kind of, I think I need guidance
yeah.
on how to move forward. I'm a good small team leader, but I guess I don't believe that I can run anything larger than a small team.
Well, and truthfully, Matt, with a vision like this, you're going to need to develop your leadership skills,
Yes.
right? I mean, and that's like, I mean, I think all leaders should constantly be developing their leadership skills because the bigger of a project that you have, the more you're going to need to lean on leadership skills. And for me, in the context of leadership, is one who stands for the greatness in humanity. And the work of leader is to create a future that wouldn't exist otherwise. The other work of how we do that as leaders, we have to keep doing the work to get ourselves out of the way.
This is true. Yes.
Because if I don't do the work to get out of the way, there's things that I can't say that need to be said. There's things that I can't do that need to be done. And there's a quality of being that I can't be from time to time that I'm going to need to be in order to cause that to change, right? And the domain of leadership is linguistics.
Yes.
So this is the other piece that we have to develop as leaders is we need to develop the skills to be able to speak, to enroll people into seeing a bigger vision for themselves and the world that they really want to get on board and play with and
Yes.
develop that. So
Okay. Yeah, because my idea for leadership since I started was you need to have kind of a mindset and a vision, and then you have to be able to communicate that to your people. Your people, it sounds weird, but anyway, we'll go with that for right now. And then you put them in positions of strength because that's where they're going to be comfortable. And then from time to time, you give them projects that are in their weaknesses, but because they're running in a position of strength, they take those weaknesses and train themselves. So, but
that's it. Do you see that even that's the context of standing for their greatness and you're eliciting their greatness out of them. You get that they're greater than they even realize that they are, and you're helping them develop that greatness. That's what great leaders do. And that's how you develop a team. And this is why I'm a stand for helping leaders develop in this way, because the old paradigm of leadership where you control and manipulate and demand and dictate is not a sustainable leadership. It's not one that inspires and catalyzes people from their core purpose fuel, which is that regenerating fuel. If you can really help people tap into their greatness and their purpose, you'll get the very best work out of them in a way that benefits their lives as well.
Yeah, and to me, it's not even getting their very best work out of them. It's putting them in a position where they're doing their very best. Because to me, the leader is just kind of the center point where information can come in, information can go out, but everybody should be the leader. Like I train my team kind of, I once had a Navy SEAL talk to me and tell me that the Navy SEAL teams are trying to train, everybody's trained as an individual at first, and then they train as a team. So the idea is that the team exists, but if they're down to one man on the team, that one man is the team.
Yep. Yeah. And when I say get the best work out of them, I mean, everybody wants to bring their best work. That's how we discover that you lead them to also discover their greatness. And I love that too. You invite them to step into leadership to also being a stand for the greatness in humanity, because we don't get to discover our greatness until we take a stand for something bigger than themselves. And when you have a team of people who are all deciding to be a stand for something bigger than themselves together, developing their greatness, then you can get to Mars and build a colony and mine the astrobelt. So absolutely. So, well, let's do this, Nat. I love what you're up to. What I love the most, that I'm most excited about, is who I see you have become today as a result of life happening for you, and who you have been as life has happened for you. That's the call of leader and hero. When, you know, shit happens and the world falls apart, the hero rises up. And this is what I see in you. I see you stepping up, and I see you being willing to be seen in a way that you were shying away from before. And it's really inspiring to me, and I'm excited. So I want to invite you to have a 90-minute deep dive with me. We'll schedule this deep dive. And in this deep dive, what we'll do is we'll explore, we'll create a coaching context. And a coaching context is we're going to be looking at, okay, well, if we were to work together towards achieving these goals, what would be happen? What areas would we be working on, and where would the transformation happen? What would it look like? We're gonna get really specific. And so we'll create a coaching context, and then we can choose into it or not, right? Okay. Typically when I do that, after the deep dive, it usually ends in one of three different ways. You're gonna say to me, I wanna work with you. What does it cost? What does it look like? I might say to you, Matt, I love what you're up to. I really want to partner in this project with you. Can we explore working together? So either way, we'll have a chance to look at what ongoing coaching might look like. And two, I might say a call coaching a no for now, because I would recommend a different resource or something. And I've even been known to refer a different coach if I think it's going to be a better fit for you, given what you're up to. Or number three, we're going to say, this is a great conversation. Let's keep it going. I don't take on any new clients until we're both a hell yes. Sometimes we know right away, and sometimes it takes just a little while. So, but I want to invite you to continue this conversation, dive a little bit deeper, and explore that, creating that context.
Sure.
Would you like to do that?
Yeah, I'd like that. And it was one comment / question. So for leader, does the leader really develop better and newer skills, or does the leader learn different roles and learn how to, so does the leader I don't see a leader as building, I see a leader as knowing how to change and being willing to change. And then
so in the context of leadership that I work within, and the leadership context that I work comes from a course called Being a Leader. I was going to write a book on leadership, and I was interviewing leaders, and I interviewed this one guy that the stuff that he said to me was something I had never heard anybody talk about leadership in this way. And it was something that intrinsically resonated profoundly with my truth on what appealed to me in leader and what didn't appeal to me in the leadership that I saw, and why I was avoiding leadership. And the context of leadership from this course is that a leader is somebody who creates a future that wouldn't exist otherwise, and is free to be and free to act in their natural self-expression in any way that leadership is required of them. And as I have studied this and put it into practice and played with it and started working with different clients around it, to me, what leader does, Matt, leader gets himself out of the way, because leader understands that he is 95% his monkey suit.
Okay.
Leader has to really get that. Leader has to really understand that 95% of his neurological wiring is wired to survive and for efficiency. So most of our behavioral patterns inside of this monkey suit are not who we really are, and they are constraints to leadership. What this monkey suit wants to do is look good, be admired, be right. And in order to be right, you need to be wrong. So this monkey suit prevents me from running down my street naked. I love walking around my house naked, right? I love it when I get to do that. So I would most likely love to walk down my street naked. There's a really good reason I don't. I'm afraid of getting thrown in jail or the loony bin. The reason, so that's a survival mechanism. That is a survival pattern that says, part of the brain that's wired for survival, hey, you can walk around your house naked when nobody's here, but don't walk down your street naked, or something bad's going to happen to you, right? Mm-hmm. So leader understands that they are 95% monkey suit. So what leader does, the work of leader is to get themselves out of the way. And when I say get yourself out of the way, how you do that, the way that we do that is we understand how this monkey suit operates. I understand, like for one of my monkey suit operations is I feel better if you like me. I like to be liked.
Mm-hmm.
That was a survival pattern that worked really well for me for a really long time.
Yes.
But I didn't know it was a survival pattern. I just thought it's who I was.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was first coaching, when I first began, there were times where I knew what needed to be said. I knew what needed to be pointed to, but I couldn't get the words out of my mouth. I knew it, but I was afraid you wouldn't like me. So they wouldn't come out of my mouth. I would hang up the call and be so frustrated because I was like, oh, I didn't serve them. So I didn't know that. And then when I got coaching on it, and then I was able to distinguish it. So when it comes to these patterns, that which is undistinguished runs us. So leader does the work to pull the blind spots forward, distinguish these patterns so we can be responsible for them. That pattern of wanting to be liked is still there. I'm just able to be responsible for it now. What I do now is I create a context that allows me to show up as me. So, and we'll go over this when we get into our deep dive next time we talk, but I always will say, hey, before I start a deep dive with somebody, I always say, hey, I have a distinction of serving versus pleasing. You know, if I were to serve you, if I were more interested in pleasing you, I wouldn't say what needed to be said to you.
Exactly.
Are you okay if I don't hold anything back that comes up for me? When you say yes to me, I've just changed the context of what being liked is. This is how I'm being able to be responsible for it. So as leader, that's when I say we do the work to get ourselves out of the way, that's what I mean. We do this as a leader, we do the work to understand this monkey suit we're in so we can be responsible for it, so that we can create the context that allows us to show up however we need to be, to do whatever we need to do to cause the future to occur that we're stand for. Does that make sense?
It does, yes. Yeah, it makes it, I've been thinking a lot about that, not putting it in those terms, but it
makes leadership a whole heck of a lot easier. I would say not more comfortable. It's easier. It makes eventually leadership more and more easy. It's uncomfortable to distinguish these patterns and do this kind of deep work. Mm-hmm. But the more you do this deep work, the more you're able to distinguish the patterns and be responsible for it. Eventually leadership begins to get really easy because it's no longer about you, it's about them.
Yep.
And
okay. Well,
cool. Right on, my friend. Okay, well, I will have Cherie reach out and get us scheduled. And can I close with acknowledging you?
Yes. Okay.
Matt, I've said this already before today, but I really want to acknowledge you for being reluctant leader. When I say that, it just holds such a place in my heart. I'm in such profound appreciation for who you are and what you have gone through and who you are being into the breakdown that's happening all around you. I want to acknowledge you for stepping up and being seen in this time.
Thank you.
Yeah. And doing it vulnerably and courageously. And that is, I want to acknowledge you for being leader.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm excited to dive deeper in and play with you.
Excellent. Thanks very much. I acknowledge you for being a kind and very accepting leader. I don't really know how to say it, but you don't force or anything, but you still lead powerfully.
Thank you. My guess is that's probably a lot of how you lead too. You spot it, you got it, right? I can see that in you too. Yeah.
I try to do that, yes.
Yeah, right on.
I like people to be in a position where they can lead themselves.
Love that. Yes, we need leaders like you in the world.
Right.
All right, my friend, well, have a fantastic rest of your night. Give Amber my love, and we'll dive deeper in soon.
All right, thanks very much.
You bet. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.